The reason why I asked that question was because we also recall that there was a differentiation made between the electronic voters register and the manual voters register. Now, INEC said that during the 2011 elections, they had printed out what they called the electronic voters register as opposed to the manual voters register. And I'm going to take a quote from what he said recently. He says, "We've gone very far with the award of the contract for the permanent voters register. It's going to be in embedded chip contact lens cards. Each card will carry all the information about the voter with all his biometric data from fingerprint to photograph and so on." Do you think that this kind of process can actually go on without an amendment to the electoral law?
The electoral law will have to be amended for the e-voting to take place. Like you rightly mentioned, the earlier amendment just affects the verification process. Now, for the voting proper, there will have to be an amendment of the law to take that into effect. And talking about permanent voter card, it's been almost 2 years now after the 2011 elections. That's almost getting to 2.5 years after I have registered, speaking about me, and I haven't received it, and I don't know anyone who has received it. And there's another election coming up around the corner, and we have people who are getting to the voting age on almost a daily basis, and you have to register them, and you have to do all this biometric data together and then produce another permanent card. I don't know how all this works. I know this everything that has to do with technology is a Herculean task. I don't want to get into the habit of just criticizing INEC for the sake of criticism, but I don't know how feasible it is, but it hasn't been a very impressive record.
Give us your suggestions then. What would you have them do, for instance, to get anything right?
Well, in terms of voting or in terms
Yes.
of the electronic voting?
Voting. Either or.
Well, you know, what you see depends on where you sit. Whenever I talk about how INEC should or could conduct themselves, the first thing a lot of people tell me is that you are a member of the opposition, you don't see anything right as long as you lose elections. And the last election of 2011 could be said to be a little bit better than the previous elections, but is by no means a slam dunk. It's by no means what everybody has been saying it is, free and fair. That's just a whole crap. What I believe is that INEC can do better, and they can do better through the forensic data. The verification process will have to be taken seriously, and people should not be disenfranchised unnecessarily. And when it comes to voting, INEC should stamp its feet on the ground and make sure that there's a credible process as much as it could, whether it's manual, whether it is computerized. When an election is free and fair like that of Edo State, people and everybody will be comfortable that it is free and fair, the losers and the winners alike. So I don't think we need any computer genius to tell us that this is what happened or this is not what happened. If at the end of the day, if we go to court, the same electoral body would be unwilling to produce these documents for forensic scrutiny. So I think it all boils down to the sincerity and the true impartiality of the electoral umpire.
Well, now that you've talked about the electoral umpire, you just reminded us as a nation that while loads and loads of people are yet to get their permanent voter card, perhaps we should beam our searchlight towards the umpire. Are you satisfied with what they've done so far away from the Edo elections? Do you think that from the last election, judging from what we saw in the last elections, INEC is set to take off the next big election in 2015? I
don't know. I've always been skeptical of a humongous election all over the country with about 120,000 polling stations, with a country that is deep-seated in the culture of indiscipline in every ramification. You know, I've always known it's going to be Herculean, it's going to be difficult. This is a country where the government is the only, I may use those words, only source of employment. And political positions are more or less a business venture where you go in and you make money. So I know that politics and election is literally a do-or-die affair in this country. Literally it is a do-or-die affair in this country. So it's difficult. INEC is usually overstretched. Some of their basic complaints is that they lack the manpower, and where they do have the manpower, they can't vouch for the credibility of the people they are putting to work. They get people on ad hoc staff who have no patriotism or loyalty to any idea of a nation or a country or a state or local government. Everybody has his own loyalty to his own ethnicity or himself or his family. So it's difficult for INEC to have a very, very perfect election if it is going to take place all at the same time all across the country. But if you take it piecemeal by piecemeal like that of Edo State, they concentrate there, the security forces are concentrated there. It's a shame that about 13,000 security agencies will have to be sent to Edo for that kind of election to take place. So in 2015, do you have 13,000 security agencies to send to every state that are going to have election? No, you don't have that manpower. So I don't know how it's going to work out. It's difficult, but I think if they could put sincerity of purpose and stamp their feet on the ground and make sure that this thing works, they can achieve some level of success in some aspect, yes.